Hello, and welcome to Hotpicklegaming. I am the Scree, and today we are taking a look at Rebel Galaxy. So for anyone who doesn't know, I freaking love space sims of any kind. From the supreme classics like Freelancer or Descent, to the more modern and extremely deep and difficult EVE Online and Elite Dangerous. I don't know what it is about the deep, dark, open expanses of space that just called to me. Perhaps it's why I always dreamed of going to space, but my natural laziness stopped me from doing anything about following those dreams in real life. So I'm looking to use these games as a form of wish fulfillment. But enough Psychology 101, let's talk about Rebel Galaxy. First, let's have a look at the description from the official Steam page. Rebel Galaxy is a swashbuckling space adventure with action-packed combat, exploration, discovery, trade, and negotiation with the outlandish denizens at the edge of the known universe. The game has over 1,000 Steam reviews, with 91% of them being positive, which is what initially brought this to my attention. I always like to give Steam reviews a good once-over before buying any of these less well-known games, because I'm not some super rich space mogul, so it's important that I get some value from my purchases. And with Rebel Galaxy, that's what I got. Metric space tons of value. So let's talk music. The first thing that you'll notice is the rockin' soundtrack that is aptly described as cowboy rock and roll. I mean, this is ear-splitting, heart-thumping rock that really does add a layer of sheer badassery on its own. This is one of those games where the soundtrack should definitely be available as an additional download. I would gladly pay an extra $1 or $2 to just get those tracks. Let's talk graphics. So, Rebel Galaxy has a beautiful look that really does feel like any high-end title as you blast your way across nebulas and asteroid fields as enemies assault you from all sides with amazingly well-done weapon animations and beautifully rendered colors. If there's one thing this game nails, it is the sheer insanity that is fighting in space with giant laser death rays. Missiles zig and zag as they cut a path to your ship with bright afterburners all their own, leaving streaking trails behind as they bring the pain at supersonic speeds. Though supersonic is a concept that makes no sense in space due to the lack of sound waves being unable to propagate in a vacuum. Boom! Science. One of the most satisfying things that happens in this game is the utter devastation that's rendered beautifully when another ship experiences catastrophic depressurization and it explodes in a massive fireball, leaving behind collidable debris that can impede your ship and even cause damage if your shields are down. I've been able to run this game on Ultra with no stutter or FPS loss, even when running a swarm mission with 50+ spacecraft buzzing about, firing their lasers and cannons and missiles. It is optimized to high heaven and it always looks amazing. Let's talk gameplay. So the story of Rebel Galaxy isn't going to win any awards, and the game does feel pretty simplistic overall. What the game lacks in a driven narrative, it makes up for in feel and scope. Every time you fire up a new game, the galaxy is completely different, being procedurally generated. It offers different station positions, asteroid clouds and nebula are placed in new locations, and even the economy and the starting systems is random. It makes the game feel more alive in a way, and it lends to some minor replayability. The characters are all voice acted and are super cool in design and looks, each having their own facial animations that sync pretty well with the wacky dialogue that is all very tongue-in-cheek, but they lack any depth other than to drive the basic story forward. None of the traders ever say anything new, and the pirates don't have any fear, even when you offer them a chance to surrender or run away when facing your supreme dreadnought, decked out in the most powerful weapons in the game. The factions are basically just names and have no unique motivations of their own. The trading system in this game is pretty good, but again, it's a little lacking because the stations never have giant piles of loot you can scrape up on the cheap, and the pricing from system to system isn't varied enough to really be worth the effort of traversing the entire galaxy for a major score. There are several conditions that can affect each base in a system, from war and invasion to famine or even a huge celebration, that do kick up the price for certain goods, but often end or balance out before you have a chance to cash in on many of the higher prices unless you get lucky. Combat, on the other hand, is surprisingly deep as you learn to time your deflectors to save you from a barrage of alien death rays, only to drop them and fire off a return volley that tears through the hull and destroys your target with a visceral excitement I haven't felt in a lot of space games. The reason for this is the two-dimensional combat that takes place on a flat plane and your ship relies heavily on broadsides that bring you so much closer to the action. Games like EVE Online, where you can literally get into a 50-person showdown and never actually see another ship because you're zoomed out to the tactical map the whole time, lose some of the gut-punching feedback and satisfaction you get from an up-in-your-face broadside-to-broadside brawl. Sadly, the game follows an extremely linear upgrade path for each weapon and ship type, with a few variants thrown in, mostly for flavor. Basically, get a bigger ship, get the next level of guns and ship add-ons, and move to the next system. The ships aren't difficult to find, and many of the special faction-only ships require a lot of work for very little return in performance or style. I mean, in the first system, there are usually 5 to 8 ships you can get with just a few credits, and maybe 2 or 3 that require some mission grinding. One of the things that really didn't sit well with me, there were no stealth ships that could get past militia embargoes or dangerous enemies to run high-end cargo from one side of the verse to the other, really limiting your smuggling lifestyle. They do have a small smuggling cargo hold you can buy, but it only holds 4 items. And when you're looking to strike it rich, 4 tons of cargo just isn't gonna cut it. Let's talk about my final thoughts. So forget every negative thing I've said so far, because regardless of the sometimes glaring shortcomings of this game, its amazing soundtrack, gorgeous visuals, and really wonderful sandbox feel are great. I binged this game for nearly 3 days straight, and never did I feel more like the captain of a spaceship in a giant lonely universe where I was free to make my own way. For fans of the Firefly universe, this game will make you feel right at home, taking just enough jobs to keep flying like a leaf on the wind. For $20, you won't find a better balls-to-the-walls, space-trucking, laser-blasting space sim than Rebel Galaxy. The 2-man studio Double Damage has made an impressive game that does not disappoint, and I, for one, cannot wait to see what's in store for this game or their next project. I give this an 8 out of 10. Don't forget, if you like the review, to subscribe to our channel for future reviews, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.